Good evening, everyone. Beautiful Sunday night here in Jersey. Gary Gabagool here with my boy Sal.
Hey, everybody.
Red podcast number 14. We're starting off the podcast with some CCR.
Yes.
Credence Clearwater Revival.
Every now and then you just need a little Credence in your life.
John Fogerty on vocals here. And it was an interesting week. Much slower. I would say steady pace of what was going on in our country and the world this week. And some stuff we're going to talk about. And Sal and I came across some stuff that unfortunately and not shockingly was not even reported. So
go figure.
Yeah. But
let's start off the show with something light, though, you know?
Yeah, let's start off with light, and then we're going to get a little heavier later on, because what we're going to talk about later is proven, it's factual, and when you stay tuned, it's quite concerning, no matter whether you're a Christian, Catholic, Muslim.
If you have children,
it's kind of,
this is horrifying.
And I looked, Sal and I looked all over, and we didn't hear about any of this. So we'll get into that a little bit later. So stay tuned for that. But first, we're going to talk about CNN again.
Yes.
CNN is I would call them the meteor that has come crashing to the earth.
It's that meteor that they're like, all right, well, everybody take cover. This one's going to hit. It's going to be deep impact. And then it comes and it's the size of a fucking pebble.
Well, the stuff that bothers CNN makes me laugh. And this week, I got to tell you, the funny thing is, I don't know who put this out. I know Trump tweeted it, but somebody else did it for him. The meme or the video of him back in WrestleMania days when he was probably 25, 30 years ago when he was a guest. And
that was, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
It was fine.
It was, and they put the head of the CNN, and they made such a big deal out of it. But
that was so funny.
It was really funny, actually. But
the best part that come out of that was CNN acting like they were like king of the media.
Yes, they act like they're king.
Yeah, we'll out you. We're gonna out you. We're gonna let people know who you are.
Right. And
who the fuck cares?
Well, the funny part is, this week it came out. Now think about this, people. CNN at one point in time around the world, whether you were in an airport, a business center, any kind of hospital, any kind of place where they have TVs on, you know, that they have to have, CNN was the prevailing for years.
Yeah.
I'm talking when we were kids, CNN was the shit. Or supposedly the shit back in the day.
Everyone thought it was the shit.
Everybody thought it was. But think about this for a minute. This week, ratings came out. This is mind-boggling to think about that. A conglomerate, which is heavily financed, lots of advertisers, had lower ratings than Nick at Night. Nick at Night, people.
People needed their Bewitched in their life.
They're watching I Dream a Genie and Bewitched, as well as a bunch of other kiddie shows. The Munsters over CNN. And I bet you if you looked at their budgets, Nick at Night's budget is probably about one fucking 100,000.
I mean, what could their budget be? All it is old shows. You just gotta hit the button, right?
Right. And they have higher ratings than CNN. But it was funny. In Poland, I don't know if any of you saw this. There was a girl named Maggie Hayes. She's a CNN broadcaster, and they were penning her to take over the Today Show. And I think she just harpooned her campaign to do so, because I don't know if you guys saw this, but Trump had met with the president of Poland. Everything went great. I think he also met with some other dignitaries of that great country. And this woman came on, and the first thing she said was about Russia Trump. And then he was trying to actually talk, and I've never seen anything like it in my life. She just basically continued to barrel over him, and finally the Polish leaders, or the Polish people that were in charge of the press conference, said to the lady, "You have to go." And they escorted her out. Think about that, people. She was kicked out of a press conference because of her annoyance. So Maggie Hayes is probably done. Yeah. Rightfully so. Deservedly so.
Yeah, but I just wanted to start with the downfall of CNN and how funny it's been, because I don't know if it was old thinking or whose thinking it was to go at the person who made the meme and made the video, but do they not know the internet? Do they not know that what's going to happen if you say something like that? Now all there will be is memes and videos against you for the rest of time. Like, do you remember the Michael Jordan cry face?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that went on for years.
The thing I don't understand is, what would make adults get so upset about this? Like, think about that. Like, these are grown ass people.
Well, I think it comes down to like everything else in life. It comes down to money.
Yeah.
And he's like, my money's gonna. They're not gonna give me my money now because everybody realized what you're saying is fake. So no one's gonna give you your money for your fake shit. So now no, they can't do that. I'm gonna tell your mama it was you.
But they're shot to shit.
Oh,
they're done.
They're done.
I can't even believe. And here's the thing that I gotta tell you. I used to follow this pretty closely. I can't. CNN has fallen so far that even now, this is unbelievable to me, that even MSNBC has surpassed them. Now, MSNBC, if you go host for host, who I would say on CNN, probably the wackiest host is this little freak, Don Lemon.
Yeah, he's a
pussy.
They're all horrible.
Yeah, they're all terrible.
Idiots.
But you compare them, if you had to say, let's compare them face to face with like a Rachel Maddow, who's nuts. She is certifiably nuts. You know, Matthews, nuts.
Nut job.
Scarborough and Mika, nuts. So here you have 3 people or 4 people that are unwatchable and unlistenable, and they even do better now than CNN, which has just killed itself. They're done.
Totally imploded.
Implode. So want to start off light with CNN. I thought that was funny this week.
I thought it was fun. If anybody was paying attention at all, you just were like, oh man, this is the end. And the song would always come like, this is the end. Yeah. My Lord.
we're watching a once powerful organization just continuously shoot itself in the foot over and over. And I want to know who's the dude who runs that? Is that Jeff? What's his name?
I thought Jeff Zucker was.
Jeff Zucker is the guy. How is he, as a leader, allowing this to go on? I mean, this is unfucking real. Like, where are the adults at CNN? Like, is an adult ever going to stand up and say, wait a second?
Well, no, the true leader is Ted Turner.
Ted Turner.
So, Ted Turner's not a fucking adult himself.
No, and he's probably senile by now. He's got, I don't know how old Ted Turner is, but he's got to be in his 80s.
He's up there, but the dude is just...
He's shot to shit as well.
He's a spiteful motherfucker,
right? Is
what he is, and everything he does is out of fucking spite,
right?
And even if he knows he's wrong, he's got so much money that he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he's total too. So you have ultimately Ted Turner, I guess, is the decision maker, but I would think Jeff Zucker is the guy who's making day-to-day decisions, and I don't understand. Jeff Zucker's not a young man. Jeff Zucker's got to be in his late 50s, early 60s, I would guess, and they don't have anyone. It's, you know what it's like doing? It's like walking into a building where a business is being held, you know, supposed business, and you find that everybody's sitting there in diapers having like cookies and milk, you know, having nap time, because that's what CNN is. It's like a kindergarten class of adults running that are well financed, and I don't know how these decisions get made.
It's straight up kindergarten class.
It's just ridiculous, but CNN is done, and we're happy about that, and they're going to continue to be done. But this week, like you said, it was a light week on news as far as liberals going ballistic, but we do have some cool stuff. The G20 summit took place. I thought it was an excellent showing by President Trump.
Yeah, I like that he met with, like, he's only going to meet with Putin for 30 minutes. They met for 2.5 hours.
Yep. Yeah, and his meeting with Putin, by all accounts and standards, was really, really well.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, I don't know. I think it's stupid, but then the more and more I think about it, they talk about his hand gestures and handshakes. I'm like, why the fuck do we care so much? I get it. You do want to portray yourself as a powerful person and all that, but Trump is going to do that no matter what. Right. That's why I don't like it when they harp on it. But
I find when they harp on this minutia, it's just ridiculous, because
it's like nothing to do with anything.
Well, here's my thing. How come, they're going to talk about his handshake, right? How come they didn't talk about, the liberal media didn't talk about Obama bowing? To me, that is the fucking worst thing that ever happened to our country. Is you have the
apology tour.
Exactly, the apology tour. You have the man who's supposed to be the strongest leader in our world in the last thousands of years, and he's apologizing, bowing down to his Muslim counterparts. And you know what? The liberal media found that to be fine. They didn't think it was.
I hate that. Like, admit wrongdoing, but never apologize.
Right.
Like, it's in the fucking past. Exactly. There's no taking it back now. Like.
Hey, listen, the people he's talking to did a shitload of wrong things.
Of course.
And they're not saying
they did way worse than we did.
Exactly. So I thought that was there was another part of the G20 I want to get your opinion on, and I'm finding it to be incredibly annoying. And it's almost like, to me, the fact that you have this asshole, de Blasio, who I don't even call de Blasio. He's a fake Italian. He's like Sizzling, fake bacon. He's William Wilhelm. That's his real name, people. I'm not calling him de Blasio anymore. But this piece of shit who's driving New York City into the ground, him and Obama are over there with Merkel playing these I don't even know what they're doing. They're playing these war games, these bullshit liberal war games where they're shadowing President Trump wherever he goes. And I don't even know how he's allowed to do this. He's a citizen like you and me now.
Yeah. Is he paying for all this out of his own pocket?
No, I think we pay for it. I think the taxpayer still pays for it. Well, I know for a fact that all the Secret Service we pay for because he gets it for life. That's got to be running up a lot of money.
You know, I always think of the craziest hypothetical situations with Obama. And right now I'm thinking, because later on in the show, we're going to talk about some of the things that are going on in the Vatican.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about.
And I think that these higher power, these higher institutions are all tied into it.
I completely agree.
So with him, I feel like he's doing this shadow government to stave off the inevitable, which is him killing himself, because the shit that is going to come and hit the fan,
right.
Fuck knows, 10 years. Hopefully, I want it to be in 2 months.
Of course.
I want it to be soon, but who the fuck knows? It could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be 10 years. But when it does come out, it's going to be so damning, if it ever comes out.
If it ever comes out.
That this dude has one option, and that's kill himself. Like, so I think he's trying to stave off the inevitable,
or hide, or going to hide like Roman Polanski. You know how that guy?
He won't be able to hide.
Probably. I mean, somebody may take him in though, but
no one.
We'll see. But the whole thing this week with Susan Rice,
they're going to turn on him.
Yeah, Susan Rice this week, you know, supposedly testified. I didn't hear much about it.
Was it Susan Rice or Loretta Lynch?
I think both actually, but Susan Rice and both were. You know, I don't know what was said. I am going to have to go on C-SPAN. I couldn't find anything on it, and that's unusual because usually C-SPAN has everything. So next week when Sal and I do the podcast, if I find out or we both find out that this tends to be something to discuss, we will. If not, obviously, we won't mention it. But I don't see how there's, as Sal mentioned earlier, there's so much damning stuff going on. I mean, another thing that was factual, and no one said another word about it. I don't even think Fox reported, was that John Podesta, who is tied back to Sal said before with the pedophile stuff. We'll get into that in a little while. But he just got caught hiding all the DNC email servers from the CIA and FBI with a warrant. He hid them. So now these guys are basically telling him that if he doesn't produce these servers, he's going to be criminally prosecuted. So think about this, people. We have a guy who was, I think in Hillary Clinton's campaign, was the second highest ranking member, who's hiding basically felonious activity that was on the computer. And I don't understand how these guys get away with this shit. This is unbelievable. I mean, this is every person in their cabinet, every single one.
This is
top to bottom.
It's just like knowing what you know about Podesta and the spirit cookings and the fucking blood rituals and how fucking weird this guy is.
His messed up finger.
Oh, this is fucking weird. Oh, bizarre.
And his brother, he has a brother who's just as weird as him. And we'll talk about them in a little bit. So I just want to see if anyone out there who's watching this has any information on this.
I did see. I don't have information on that, but what I saw was Podesta trashing Trump and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could this guy even say a fucking word?
He should keep a low profile
when everyone knows about like the leaks about him and what the fucking crazy shit he's into. That fucking owl ceremony.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's one of the creepiest dudes. If you do your homework on John Podesta. And I mean, we could talk about it forever.
Just type in John Podesta ritual.
Right.
Just write that, like do that search. And you'll see some crazy.
He's best friends with this artist out of New York named Abramovich, who's a complete maniac. She's a devil worshiper. We'll get into that. You know, she does all sorts of really radical, crazy shit against children and cutting people. She's nuts. But
bizarre.
We're going to talk about that a little later as well, because this has what to do with what we had mentioned earlier. But the one thing was I want to get into a little more positive spin before we get into the real negative stuff about what's happening in our world and country. But President Trump in Poland was incredible.
Great.
And not to keep bashing on a dead horse here, but CNN, you know, said he wasn't welcomed. And I don't even know where they got this, because I put up 2 videos this week of him driving in. It was a cavalcade of cars, and people were lining the streets with American flags, chanting Trump, Trump, Trump in the street. And this wasn't done in the afternoon. This was done in the middle of the night. was done like 3 in the morning. There's people. It was kind of cool looking. The streets of Poland, which I've never been to, look beautiful. And it's pitch black, and you see all the, the flags and coming in the cavalcade of cars, and you see all these people with their phones like chanting. I was like, wow. And then you get to the, in I guess the political headquarters of Poland, Warsaw, I would guess. Mm-hmm. Beautiful place. Looked like it was, had all these monuments and stuff, and it was on a mountain, it looked like to me. And there was like 20,000 people there, and people were interrupting his speech, going, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. And he was incredibly complimentary to the Polish people, as he should be. His speech, if you haven't watched it, was about 20, after you knocked out the beginning, it was about 24 minutes, 26 minutes. I highly recommend it. Let me tell you something, people. President Trump nailing his history of, basically going back to World War II, Nazism, the Russian occupation of Poland, how they fought them off. Poland was getting occupied by both countries, which was mind-boggling because Poland's not a huge country. They fought them off, and the Polish people just loved them. President, his wife, everybody just loved it. Just loved the guy.
Yeah, I'm so happy that at least one fucking country knows like
right.
What's up. Like, jeez.
And his speech, after talking about the great Polish people and their their ability and their pride in their country and democracy, he went into anti-Muslim Islam extremism, yeah. And they addressed it. And he also said that Poland is one of the few countries in the world that does not allow any refugees in, and they had zero
radical Muslim terrorism.
Exactly. So all right, people, here I guess this is a question I'm posing, and I don't think any of our liberal friends out there watch us, but it is a question I'm posing to liberals, and I really am meaning this from the bottom of my heart. I'm not meaning to be a wise ass, but here's a question for you. You have a country such as Poland that does not allow Muslim refugees in it. So then you take the next leap and you say, okay, if they don't do that, they must have a lot of terrorism, and they have zero. So you tell me, explain that to me in logic. The countries, and there's one other country in our world that does not do it. That's Japan. So let's think about this, people. Japan and Poland don't allow any Muslim refugees in. Both countries have had zero terrorism. Take it away.
I think there could be a correlation there. I think there could be.
I don't think we're taking too much of a leap by saying there's definitely a correlation.
Yeah, it's an obvious correlation. Let's be real. Since this whole travel ban thing in this country, people have been going, it's fucked up, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. You can fucking do it. The travel ban has been in effect since Donald Trump stepped into office January 20th. The travel ban's been in fucking effect. You think people were allowed to come here? No. They can do anything they want in the stupid media realm. Yep. It's not real, people. That's what I've been trying to tell people. This is not, they're telling you the most nonsensical bullshit they can. They're not giving you the real facts. They did not let. There's no terrorism or no refugees are allowed in here. No, I'm sorry. I just know people can come. Oh well, they let these people in. They let this. They did not let mass amounts. Of
no, not mass. Maybe some snuck in. That goes. But yeah, no, they did not allow mass people. Which
doing that. And now they're not going to do that.
Right. Exactly. And so that's the stuff. And I can't get a straight answer. And speaking of, we're going to. I'm going to put a little addendum to this story. I really don't like talking about Hollywood people, but it ties in perfectly with the Muslim refugee story. And I found it funny because I call him, the clueless wonder, Curious George Clooney, announced yesterday. This idiot announced that him and his family could not remain in Europe because it was too dangerous due to Muslim refugees. Now think about this, people. This is the same guy. And I got to tell you something. I think since George Clooney married this woman, he smartened up a little bit because she must be the brains of the marriage, because he is taking back a lot of stupid shit that he said before. And it's kind of nice to see, because I know his wife is very pro-women, but not in a weird sort of way. She's very anti-Islamic terrorism, anti-trafficking. So I like the fact that it seems like he may be actually getting a brain cell in his head since he married this woman, which is funny because I want to hear a stance now on refugees, because what a bunch of hypocrisy this guy spills out.
Oh, I know. Every time I hear any of these fucking,
they're such idiots.
I'm like, Jesus. If it's not, this is the most obvious thing I've ever heard, is that you're being paid by some political thing.
Right.
You have some kind of tie into what the hell is going on, and it freaks me out. It really does. It just pisses me off. I'm like, how the fuck do people like you like this? Like, you are nothing more than a mere man that fucking acts. People act like you're a goddamn holier than thou.
I think the problem with our society is we put individuals on these pedestals. And listen, I'm not saying, you know, if you like an actor or a musician or an athlete, more power to you. However, as Sal says, these are just normal people. Now, this is what I try to tell people all the time. Because someone may be great at their individual craft, whatever that may be, whether the guy can hit a baseball, hit a jumper from 30 feet, if he could
read some lines dramatically
and make himself cry on cue, or her cry on cue, or, you know, strum a guitar better than other people, that's excellent. That's what the person should be acknowledged for. That's what should be credited for. However, that does not make the person an expert or an intellect on politics or what they're basically doing, as Sal said.
For someone to follow.
Exactly. That's the thing that bothers me, is when you get these people, and it's always predominantly liberals, but you get these wacky liberals following these clowns who, you know, make $20 million to make a shit movie. And they do it all the time. Robert De Niro hasn't made a good movie in 10 years, 15 years.
Family bleeds him dry.
Exactly. You know, all these other guys, these athletes, listen, they're paid what they're paid. I'm not jealous of them. But, you know, you're paying a baseball player or a basketball player 20, 30 million a year. It's ludicrous. Oh, really? It's ludicrous. But they get what they get. Yeah. I'm not going to rant. But that person should shut his mouth, or her shut her mouth, when it comes to this stuff.
Just do what they do.
Exactly.
Do what you get paid for.
Exactly. And the same thing
know
goes
where your bread is buttered.
Right. And listen, I'm gonna make a correlation here, and I'm just gonna mention it and then we'll move on. But Guns N' Roses, I used to be a fan of Guns N' Roses. They weren't one of my favorite bands, but I always liked them. Personally, I think they made a few good albums, and I think, you know, the drugs got to them. And I went to go see Guns N' Roses a bunch of years ago, and Axl Rose pissed me off because he didn't get to come on stage. You're supposed to come on at like 9:15. He didn't come on till like 11:30, and I had to work the next day, so I left. But
it's all personal.
Exactly. So I hate Axl Rose, that bloated drug addict, shitty looking singer. But this week in Mexico, they went there and they put up a huge Donald Trump pinata, and they were smashing it with guitars and drumsticks, and they were saying "fuck Trump, fuck America." And Michael Corleone once said something in a Godfather movie. So I know I'm sounding like a hypocrite here because I'm talking about movies, but there was a line when he was talking to Fredo. If you remember the line, he says, "Fredo, you're my brother. I will always love you. Never, ever discuss family business with anyone outside the family." And in this case, it was Mo Green. And a one or two other guys.
It's a good life lesson.
It's a good life lesson, because here's my point of the story is, you bash America outside of the country, it makes you look like an asshole. It makes America look weak, and it makes us look divided. And so I've always had a pet peeve about people who did that. Listen, you're gonna talk about America amongst people like Sal and I'll be more than happy to debate you. Sal will also. However, when you go to a foreign land and you fucking do that, that is the lowest form of life. Springsteen has done it. Bon Jovi has done it. And coincidentally, people, have you noticed Bon Jovi 15 years, 20 years prior to this year sold out every concert he ever played in. Never had an empty seat in the house. This year, mysteriously, Bon Jovi had a sore throat and canceled his tour because he was selling nothing.
It's just like Roger Waters and all that.
Roger Waters,
exactly.
Roger Waters.
Caught limp syncing.
Yep. Roger Waters, another asshole who put "fuck Trump" and lights.
Yeah, but this is what I'm glad you kind of brought it up, because now we can kind of go down this road. We weren't going to talk about this, but I want to give a shout out back to Theo Vaughn, who gave me a shout out on his podcast. Thank you very much for saying what's up, man. Appreciate it. But his question was, what is an American now? He talks about what it was to be an American back in the day.
Yep.
Pride and everything was about for your country, and everyone just seemed together.
Yeah.
And then he talks about now about how even the poor people are lazy.
Yeah.
And no one was striving to do anything better.
Right.
And all this stuff. So he, the question was, he was asking me, or asking his whole audience was, what is it to be American to you? Like, what do you think it is to be American? Why do you think America is the way it is now? And that's where I went down.
Think about this. Think about back in the day. You talked about the major stars in Hollywood or sports. So think about this. Someone like John Wayne, someone like Mickey Mantle or Joe DiMaggio.
You just
or Ted
think
Williams.
America.
Do you think, exactly, do you think they fought for our fucking country? They went overseas during their career. So they would never think about doing that. Now you have all these pussies in Hollywood and music and movies.
Great correlation.
Doing that.
You think of fucking Colin Kaepernick going to fucking Guam and saying independent. Like, think about your predecessors, dude. Think of like Ted. I know
Exactly.
it's a different sport, but
Right.
American.
He was a fighter
He's
pilot.
a fucking American. He went to fight in the goddamn war to save your goddamn independence, so you could go to Guam and be a bitch.
Right.
Dude, that's the guy who kills me. It's that he's so fucking ignorant. That's what kills me. It's nothing that he does that pisses me off.
No,
it's that
no.
he's so fucking ignorant about it.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you could protest all day.
Yeah, I don't care. But it's something that Sal brings up a great question, what it means to be American. And here's a question I posed to liberals this week on Facebook. And I say this, and it's something that came up, I was thinking about. And, Sal turned me on to Theo Vaughn, and I liked some of the stuff he was saying.
He shouted out the Red podcast. Check out Theo Vaughn's last podcast, What It Means to Be an American.
Yeah.
You'll hear us get the shout out.
Yeah, like 26 minutes or 23 minutes or something. But the thing I thought about is this, right now on a map where most of us, or I shouldn't say most, some of us couldn't even identify, you have men that pray 5 times a day for our destruction.
9.
They pray a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
They pray a lot for us to be killed. And these people don't care where you fall on the political spectrum. They'll kill you just the same whether you're a liberal supporting them, if you're a middle of the road, or you're a conservative. Nor do they care about your freedoms. They don't care about your equality. They don't care about they don't care about any of that stuff.
They hate that you have it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you know what? Ideals are protected. They're written in ink on paper. However, that's not what protects it. It's men spilling their blood overseas. And when a liberal opens their mouth and says, bring more Muslim refugees here, or, radical Islam is not that bad, as you see all over the world, in Europe, which is basically being overrun by these animals and savages. But you think about this, maybe you'll think twice, liberals, when you make such a ignorant statement, like so flippantly, when you have men who risk their lives, and not only risk their lives, their families are basically overturned. It might be for weeks, months, years, and sometimes forever when these men die overseas for what we are doing right now, and for the fact that you pussies can say what you want to say and and protest something so stupid you don't even know what you're protesting about. But that's what these guys do.
These fucking assholes. They go and have a fucking hijab day. These motherfuckers don't even know what a hijab is. They don't even realize that it's a religious sign of oppression.
Exactly.
To women.
Exactly.
So they go and have a hijab day and they make American flag hijabs and pass it out to women. Do you understand how fucked up you are? How fucking stupid you are? Like, hijab day? That is the most anti-American. Oh, we're protesting. That's American. No, what you're doing is anti-American. Hijab day? You're a fucking moron. I can't be screaming loud enough because we're outside and people will start looking. But, oh my God, I want to go crazy.
Well, here's the funny part is, if you ever, I read the Quran. Sal has buddies. He knows about this. Yeah. Do you know about the Sharia law and all this stuff? There is nothing these maniacs do to uplift women. Nothing. Not one thing.
Everything is to put them down.
Everything. And not only put them down would be saying it kindly.
Basically enslave them is what they want.
Enslave them, rape them, murder them, genital mutilate them. If you're a gay American, they pick you up. They walk you to a building 50 feet up and you do a swan dive and you get splatted on the ground. Yeah. So you fucking gay people and you women's writers out there, you better do some research, people, because if you don't know what's going on in this world, then you're a moron, because these people will take you and cut your head off quicker than you could tell them you support them. And if you don't realize that by now, then maybe is going to sound terrible for me to say. Maybe it's time to thin out the herd a little bit.
But I'm wearing a hijab. I'm wearing it. You fucking idiot. They want you to wear it so they could kill you.
Yeah, you'll be identified as someone they can enslave and rape if you're a woman.
As a weak woman.
Exactly, and your children will be
not saying
murdered.
Women are weak. I'm saying that's what they do by making you wear the hijab.
And to build on this, because we're making a building block of a case of liberal ignorance. Linda, we spoke about her in the past. These women's marches and this Antifa marches, it's being propagated by this woman named Linda Sarsour. You spell it Sarsour. Now, Linda Sarsour's name sounds like an American name, Linda Sarsour. However, it is not. She is one of the craziest Muslim women in America right now. I mean, she just spoke to a Muslim group 3 days ago, and she says she wants organized jihad. Now, think about this, people. Organized jihad. You know what jihad is? Jihad. That means a religious, organized movement to kill people who don't believe like you. She wants an organized jihad against President Trump, his administration, and his supporters, like you and me and all the deplorables out there. So this woman who has ties to Hezbollah, Muslim Brotherhood, and Hamas, those three, who are not good people, as we know.
They're terrorist groups.
Terrorist groups. They're on the watch list of every organization in the world. This is woman who you women are marching with. American white women.
Unfucking believable. When you told me that, I kind of lost it. I was like, oh my god, these fucking people. They don't even know who she is. Not one shred of we're marching today. We're marching. Oh, we march on Saturdays because women have off.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here. Are you fucking people that ignorant?
Right.
Are you fucking people this stupid?
Think about this. And then you have idiots like Ashley Judd and Madonna standing next to this woman. And here's the funny part is, this is what I would love. I would pray that something like that, it goes down like this. This Linda Sarsour says to Madonna and says to Ashley Judd, hey, ladies, you're my type of girls. Let's go over to Iran. We'll go talk to them. Those two will be dead in 30 seconds flat.
They wouldn't really go.
They wouldn't go. They're bullshit you. But this is what I would love to see, because hypocrisy in the liberal mindset has no bounds. They have no pride. Back in the day, my mother used to say "case scorn," which means have some pride in yourself. These people have zero pride in anything they say, do, or how they act. They got nothing, man. They are as shallow mindset as a puddle, man. They're just dumbasses. I hate to say it, just complete and utter dumbasses. Yeah,
no, you hit the nail on the head right there. Fucking assholes.
Complete morons. And then we have something, and here's something I want to address. And in the deplorables yesterday, my wife was debating with this other deplorable, which is interesting because this person was trying to say, basically my wife said that there's a lot going on in this country with radical Islam, especially like in places like Michigan, other places. And this gentleman, who I don't even know his name, was kind of going at it with her, and I got involved. And he basically said, oh, because you and your husband live in fear, I conceal and carry, and anyone who comes against my family, I'll blow their heads off, which is really an idiotic statement. And I wish I remembered the guy's name, but I don't. But
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You don't got the mentality I got.
Right.
I got you see, he got knocked out. He can't knock me out because I got the fucking mentality. The knock it knock. Bro, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Well, first he mentioned, he threw some digs at us. He said something along the lines of, oh, maybe, if you can't help yourself, you can get Tony Soprano to help you, which I thought was a pretty jerk-off statement, but I'm fine with that. And then I said, well, first off, asswipe, in New Jersey, you can't carry a gun. It's illegal. Here, yeah. It's not legal. You'll go to jail. You can't do it. There's no such thing.
There's too many fucking people that live here, dude.
Exactly. There's no such thing. You bring a gun out in public, you'll be 3 to 5 without even getting a lawyer. So that's that. So you don't even know what you're talking about. Secondarily, if you think we're living in fear, why don't you go to Dearborn, Michigan? See what happens there.
He'll be in fear.
Yeah. So, and then listen, I don't know if you know about this. News hasn't said a word. We are here in New Jersey, 2 hours from here, 2 hours north. Matter of fact, on, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday, I was up. I passed Johnson City, New York. It's not far. It's a little south of Binghamton, New York. The state police of New York and the FBI found huge cache in Islamabad of weapons, bombs, and plans to have terrorist attacks all over our country. It originated by a store owner in Brooklyn and, believe it or not, a cardiologist in Brooklyn. Here's a man who's supposedly saving lives on a daily basis in a hospital. He was from Syria. This man now had plans, setting up bombs on his computer, all sorts of shit. So think about this. So there is something to fear.
Fucking evil is everywhere.
Evil.
You got to just be on the lookout. Holy shit. Yeah, that story kind of blew my mind, is how close it was.
It's close.
It's fucking real close.
And people, you see this in New Jersey. There's pockets in Patterson, Jersey City. You got a lot of bad shit, a lot of bad people right in our neighborhood. Listen, Jersey City is 30 minutes from us. Patterson is 15 to 20. There's shit going down every day in these places. I mean, they're inundated with stuff going down. I'll guarantee it.
But going back to that guy, he's got the mentality. He's got the fucking, you can't break me, dude. You can't break me. I got a gun.
Yeah.
I got the mentality. Dude, I hope nothing really bad ever happens to you. I really do. I really fucking hope nothing ever happens to you.
It's just an idiotic statement.
Yeah, because you're not going to be prepared.
Because you got a gun?
Because nothing that you prepare for ever happens. It's always the unexpected that fucking happens to you. So, like, dude, shut the fuck up.
The thing that he was so ignorant, he's kind of claiming like we didn't know how to protect ourselves because because he can conceal and carry.
Fucking trained fighter, dude. You don't know how to protect yourself.
Well,
Jesus Christ.
But it does. The funny part is it's apples and oranges. Nobody can carry. Well, yeah, if you're illegal, you carry. But I mean, as a citizen in New Jersey, you cannot carry. I don't make the laws. That's the laws of the state. And if I could carry, I would, but I can't. So no one can unless you want to get in trouble. And, you know, when you want to go to the shooting range, like I used to, you got to put the shit in your trunk. Yeah. You know, the clip's got to be out. It's such a pain in the ass. But so this is the kind of stuff, and it happens on both ends. This guy happened to be a right-wing extremist nut. And listen, there are some out there. And, you know, we talked about this before. Much, much less there. But just as a you know, kind of a sidebar, dude, I'm not afraid of shit. Neither is my wife. It's just this is the way the world is working, especially in our country now, where you have crazy ass people building a cache, a stockpile, bombs. Listen, here's another thing, dude. I don't even give a shit if you got a gun. If you have a gun on you, I don't give a shit. If you have an AR-15 and you go in your car and you turn the ignition on and like boom, know what it's gonna do? It's gonna blow you up even fucking faster because you got ammo on you, stupid ass. So anyway, so that's enough on him.
Yeah, that was fun though.
Yeah, that was fun ragging on that asshole. But and then the stuff we mentioned, I'm gonna let Sal take it away first, and then we'll get into it later. But this is what we mentioned earlier in the podcast, and this is quite alarming. So take it away, Sal.
Yeah, this is also something that it was in the news, but very, of course, underreported.
I didn't hear about it at all.
Gary, and if I'm getting it by Gary, this is saying a lot. Cardinal Capozzi in the Vatican. I don't know if that's ringing a bell to any of our listeners out there, but this guy, this week, 2 days ago, was caught having a gay orgy inside of the Vatican, inside of his chambers, and it was broken up by the elite Swiss guard of the Vatican. This is right behind where Pope Francis sleeps.
Yep.
This is fucking believable, the shit that goes on. Not only was it just a gay orgy, do whatever fucking floats your boat, dude. Highly intense drugs, cocaine, heroin found at the scene.
Priests, cardinals.
These are the people. This is where your money goes. People want, I support the church. You support the you support the people that are taking your money and using it for drugs and gay sex. This is what you're supporting right now. This is unreal. The fact that it happened and it's underreported and it happens and goes on right through under people's noses, it blows me away. I'm stuttering. I'm shaking. I'm so pissed off at this.
Well, here's the crazy part is, it probably was such a. This wasn't like a one-time thing, because people around were getting so tired of them parading young men.
That's what the claim was.
Young men and boys.
A young stream of young men.
Of young men and boys streaming into. Now, people, think about this.
Inside the Vatican walls, inside the chambers.
Inside, and if you don't know who the elite Swiss Guard are, to the Vatican, they are kind of like I would call them like the FBI, like the special op guys. They're very highly trained, highly effective guards, and I think they're mostly from Switzerland. But there are some Italian guys in there as well, and people from all over the world. No Americans, I don't think, though. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the fact that you have cardinals, bishops, priests in gay orgies with drugs. We're not talking about they're not drinking some mass wine. These guys are doing heroin, cocaine, all sorts of crazy shit. And then they're streaming in young boys. And the only thing, and I don't think this is a conspiracy theory. The way I find this goes underreported or not reported at all, and I didn't hear about it. And I looked at it. It was in one Italian newspaper briefly. I mean, they mentioned it, but
Fatto Quadrato.
Yeah,
Quadrato.
Exactly. So
FATTOQUAN.
So props to them for mentioning it, because we didn't hear it here in America. But I have a feeling when you see Obama going all over the place, he's in it. There is a tie, without a doubt, to there are the Vatican, high-level government officials, very powerful businessmen that are involved in this child trafficking, child pedophilia.
This is what I'm saying. That the case of that sounds so familiar to the WikiLeaks cases against Obama.
Right.
It's fucking so eerily similar. It's and the fact that he's going to South Korea, Germany, all these places where he has this global movement set in place to try to keep the works going, because listen, the pedophilia is getting outed. The poor Republican representative that got shot, Scalise. He was about to do a huge undertaking on pedophilia and human trafficking. Like we said, Amal Clooney, she's really big into human trafficking and stopping all that stuff. So there's a big push and a big stop, and of course, Trump is an actual fucking good person. So
Ashton Kutcher, believe it or not, I know he's a kind of a bozo at times, but he's doing something with it.
He wants to stop human trafficking and pedophilia.
Ivanka Trump.
And now that you're seeing, and just a week ago, they arrested Pope Francis's right-hand cardinal man for what? Australia, for all those sexual pedophilia. Kids. And now a week later, inside of the Vatican, another pedophilia case breaks. It's just we see the dominoes falling.
The crazy part about this is everything Sal's saying is true, but the crazy part about this is 25 years ago, this would be the headlines, the opening story on every single newscast, newspaper, everything. How the fuck are we talking now that 70 to 1980, maybe 85? Now, how is it in 30 years? Not even a mention. Why do you think that is? Because people controlling the puppet strings of the news are involved in this, or if they're not involved, they have friends involved.
And they're definitely covering up. People want to tell me, oh, well, the pedophilia is not that big in the Catholic Church. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There is over 8,000 cases, legal cases, 8,000 legal cases in court for pedophilia from the Catholic Church. It's unfucking real. It's rampant. It's a shame, because that's my fucking religion. That's fucking crazy.
Of course. And I said this, and I think people misunderstood me. A couple weeks ago on Facebook, I said that priests and nuns should be married. And they said, the first thing someone said to me is, no, because they get married, that doesn't stop pedophilia. And I think what you misunderstood me by saying is not the priests and nuns and bishops and cardinals that are in there now. People, future ones who. So if you could have a priest or a nun or a bishop or cardinal be married, you could bring a whole influx of new God-loving people that may be their what do you call it? That may be the direction in life. But the fact of the matter is now they don't do that because they are married or they have a family. Like, here's what I never understood about the Catholic Church. Even when I was a little kid, I used to ask my mom. I used to say, "Ma, well, I don't understand something. You go to confession, or you go to your priest for advice on your marriage, but they know nothing about marriage. They've never been married. They never had a girlfriend, or they never had, for that matter, a boyfriend that they're supposed to have, or whatever the case may be. They don't have relations. So how are they going to know what to tell you? Yeah. They don't have any experience. So It doesn't make any sense. So I think the misunderstanding that some of the people that read that Facebook, I don't mean that the people who are currently pedophilias or whatever the word is, pedophiliacs, yeah, whatever.
I don't want to know.
People who are pedophiles. I'm not saying them getting married would help. What I'm saying is, by doing so, you would open up to a brand new group of people that have the right reasons to be priests and nuns and helping other people. That's what I think.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's fucking unreal, this shit. When I saw it, I fucking lost my goddamn mind this week. That was only 2 days ago the story broke.
It was 2 days, and I haven't heard jack shit about this.
2 days.
It's shocking to me that it should be everywhere.
I want to give the credit where the credit's due, though. I heard it from this channel, like, every now and then. This is not where I get all my sources. This is not where I get my information. But if you want to get entertained for a little bit, and sometimes he really does have highly factual information on his show, check out Alex Jones.
Yeah.
He had this Italian newspaper writer, the guy who broke the story, on his show a day, maybe 2 days before that actual story broke.
So he's legit.
It sounded fucking crazy.
Yep. Like
most of the things on Alex Jones' show, they sound fucking crazy when you first hear them because it's the first time you hear of it at all. And then a day or two later, sometimes the stories break, sometimes they don't. That's where Alex looks bad.
Right.
But most of the time, the stories break, and it's like, oh shit. Well, how the fuck did he know that was going to happen?
Well, he got the
inside
info.
I got it from that Italian journalist who was on Alex Jones' show. He's like, listen, this Cardinal Capozzi's going down. This shit happened. It's documented. And it sounded fucking crazy when I was listening to it. Day later, in the Fatto Quattrito, in the fucking newspaper, right there, headlines.
Right. And when it's funny, going back to the Pizzagate stuff, do you know when I spoke to people about this, people would look at me like I was insane. They would say to me, Gary, you just hate Hillary Clinton. You hate Barack Obama. You hate all that. And I'm like, listen, people, this is mind-boggling. I'm gonna just mention this real quick and then we can move on. But 3 or 4 very highly visible confidants of Hillary Clinton have not been charged, not been people haven't accused them.
Indicted.
They've been indicted and jailed on child pedophilia. Yeah. Go back and look at it. So when you have all these people, 4 that have just gone to jail for child trafficking and for pedophilia, sometimes multiple times, that's something that would raise a red flag if you are a rational thinking person. Then you get a person like who no one ever heard of, this young woman out of Northern California. She was an investigative journalist named Monica Peterson. Monica Peterson was sniffing around Haiti about all these other issues we discussed. She supposedly had a lot of dirt on a lot of people. She spoke to people in Haiti. She spoke to the mothers and fathers of these little children that were caught trafficking across, country lines, or you want to say state lines, whatever the case may be. Has all this information. Mysteriously, this 27-year-old attractive, very intelligent woman shows up dead on Tony Rodham's property. Now, for those of you who don't know who Tony Rodham is, Hillary Clinton's maiden name is Hillary Rodham Clinton. Tony Rodham is her brother, who has, if you look into this piece of shit, he is as dirty as all the other Clintons. He's as dirty as all the other DNC people. He's been given time and time again tons and tons of money from illegal dealings in Haiti, in Europe, in South America, in Canada. He's hooked up with this guy Justra, who used to be, I think, TDI Bank in Canada, who's made millions on the Russian uranium deal that everyone accused Donald Trump of talking to Putin. This guy, Frank Justra, Hillary Clinton, and Podesta did the uranium deal with Russia. So you start connecting the dots and following the money, and it's not so crazy to think about this is what's going on. And I highly recommend people, if you don't believe me and you think, hey, that Gabagool guy's a bullshitter, I got all my facts straight. I'll talk to Annie about him. So does Sal. Go on YouTube. Spend about, I think it's 88 minutes, and just look up Clinton Cash. Clinton Cash. C-A-S-H Clinton. And just watch that YouTube video. And what they do brilliantly is they don't make any type of accusations against Hillary Clinton. They don't say she's a bad woman, she sucks. What they do is they tie in every financial deal where it came from. They have documentation on it. They have, when it was a real estate deal, they got the real estate paperwork. When it was a bank deal, they got the bank paperwork. When it was a uranium deal, when people got arrested, they got the arrest records. They got everything. And then they kind of sit there and say, well, what do you think happens? You know, tie the dots. And when you start doing that, you start realizing, and you say one thing in your head: thank God the American people smartened up. But here's what scares me. We still have like 48% of the population that voted for this Looney Tune.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
It goes into mental illness, though. That's what we don't have to harp on that again, but a lot of that is, you know, people that want to see the destruction, people have mental illness, people that just go with the flow because they're male feminists, you know, shit like that. I'm with her. Fuck, get the fuck out of here.
Blind ideology.
That's another. I'll give credits to Theo for this thought, because he goes, he's like, the real reason, he's like, I think Trump won the election. He's like, look at his logo. Look at the Trump logo. It had something to do with the American flag, real patriotic. Yeah. And he goes, look at Hillary Clinton's logo. Remember? There's an H with an arrow. Yeah. I'm with her. Like, and he goes, and you know,
it's so self-serving.
Theo could articulate it much better with his vernacular, but he goes, maybe people weren't with her. Maybe, you know, no one wanted to be with her and her ideas. Like, exactly right.
Well, you know, it's funny. I never thought about that, but think about this. Everything with Donald Trump was, I know they say he's a narcissist, and he probably is.
Everything was about America.
And I'm cool. Yeah, and I'm cool with that. You know, he might be a misogynist, maybe. I don't know. And I don't give a really shit about that.
It's hard to be with his daughters as being so good.
Exactly. Well, he's a great father. Look at his kids. His kids are all top-notch, quality A human beings. And I usually judge people by their kids. Well, not always.
I know. I mean, I just thought about it. I'm like, all right, well, look at his kids. I don't know. I know some parents that really fucked up bad, and their kids came out good too. Well, yeah, just to spite them.
Well, yeah, so, I guess you are, but I guess, well, all right, here, I guess
I won't give them that total.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. And all right, well, let's go back to
anyway. His daughters are wonderful people. How the fuck could he be a scumbag?
Right, and the thing is, Trump had everything about America. Hillary had everything about herself.
Yeah, that was it. That was like the whole people saw it, like, whoa,
you're right. Like I never really thought about that, but. To how narcissistic listen, people, you want to call President Trump narcissistic? How narcissistic are you that your fucking presidential campaign bumper stickers or ideological logo is H
with an arrow?
H, meaning you're down with me. I'm the bomb. I'm the shit. That is completely out of your mind. You're not. Now, one thing about the country, about me.
That's why I was fucked up. I was like, damn, that was a great thought.
It was. I never thought about that, but that is a matter of fact. I never actually thought about. It's funny because I saw a lady and man with the bumper sticker on yesterday. I wanted to drive them off the road. I didn't do it, but I felt my car veering into them like a magnet, but I didn't do it because
when I see because in Jersey it's so few. Well,
there are some,
but it's so few to see like a BLM sticker or a Hillary sticker. I find myself when I drive by, to the point where I'm like driving forward still turning my head to these fucking people. Are you real? Are you a robot? I keep change in my glove compartment or where my cup holder is. And when I go buy a car with a Hillary sticker or a Bernie sticker, I want to take a nickel out and throw and whack him in the fucking head with it. It's just something I want to do. You don't know how bad I want to do it. I think I've actually done it a couple times. I hit them in the head with a nickel. I picked my heaviest coin and just threw it at them and hit them in the head with it, and then it kind of flips them out. But I don't do that anymore because we won. But that's a whole nother thing. And the last thing I want to talk about is, and there's one thing I think that's the reason why liberal media is crumbling. There's one thing why we are where we are right now in our country, and things seem to be turning. If you look at the jobs report, you look at the stock market, you look at manufacturing, everything's looking up. We just need to clean up. There's two things that I'm praying President Trump can get done by the end of the summer. And if these fucking idiot rhinos would man up and do the right thing for not only the party, but for the American people, I'm praying this healthcare gets squared away. Has to. It's a mess right now. President Obama, the Muslim, left a complete clusterfuck in our hands. That's the bottom line. I deal with this every day, people. That's what I do for a living. And the mess that this guy left is a disaster. So he's got to do it. You got to do that. Second thing is we need to do tax. We need to do, some type of get our taxes down, man. If we can go from a 35% to a 15% as promised, that will just
put a boost on our economy and make everybody so much happier.
That'd be cool if you could do it soon too. While the economy's booming.
Yeah, I mean, at least get it approved, and then maybe
Yeah.
you know, for 2018, just have it, you know, for January, whatever. But man, we need it because right now, like the disposable income, things are tough, man.
Yeah.
And it's like people are struggling, and if you look at the tax records, we are every quarter, and I think the last quarter that they had on record was the last quarter of 2016. So, or maybe it was the first quarter of 17, right when Obama was leaving office, that we collected more income tax. It was I think it was something crazy, like 88 billion for a quarter, which is they never collect. So people are getting taxed to death.
Yeah.
And I pray with all the things happening that if President Trump can get the tax deal done and put, listen, who doesn't want 20% more in their paycheck?
I think that'll be like the biggest thing you can do.
Fuck, it'll be huge.
It'll be amazing.
It'll be huge. Huge
Totally
tax cuts.
it'd be a stimulus is what it would be.
Not like Obama's stimulus, which he put millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that did nothing. Taxpayer money wasted. Cars for clunkers, another bullshit program. Didn't do anything.
God.
Guy was a moron.
That's the next business is about. Like, you know how they were frauding the Jews are frauding the Social Security, whatever they're
Yes.
in Lakewood.
Yep.
That's the next thing that's about to go down is that Cars for Kids thing.
Oh, that's complete. Yeah, there.
Oh, man,
That's a complete scam.
what a scam! That's
a
shit.
scam.
That's
oh
going
yeah, that's
down.
a scam.
That's probably ran by
been
rabbis too.
It is. No, it is actually. It is. No, it is ran. Yeah, absolutely. It's run by.
No, I know exactly.
Yep.
I know. I was making a joke.
No, you're right. It's run by them, and so that's going down. But with
Fuckers.
that, what about anything else you got going on? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, we hit all like the main points where we wanted to tie in today. The Vatican pedophilia thing. That I mean, it wasn't even necessarily pedophilia. They just said they were young men going in and out of cars.
A lot of them, though.
A lot. A stream. So that's a fucking.
You know
lot.
what stream means, right? Stream means like
nonstop.
Like you know, it isn't like like the cesspool that we deal with where it's all shit. Stream means like a what do you call conveyor belt of young men or boys.
And I couple that with
drugs.
With drugs and the fact that Obama's still doing his tour around the world. This motherfucker is hiding something, but he's not even hiding it. He's trying to stave it off, people. I'm telling you, it's one of those things you want everything in your pocket before you go at him. Everything.
Yep. Yeah.
Everything. So everything you got is all bullets. It's all ammo. You can't let this fucking guy have 1 inch because if you do, he might get off on some kind of technicality.
He'll be like slither out like
you got to get him on everything, and that's what I think they're doing. They've been building. Look, they throw hints out there with he tapped my building during the election. They throw hints that he was fucking doing this and doing that. He did this. He had me spying on this. He had me on this. All unfounded. But until you get the concrete shit, and they're like, oh damn, Trump was right when he said he was spying on him back in the 3 years ago.
Right.
This motherfucker was right. I can't believe it.
Well, Sal brings up a great point, and there's one thing I want to stress because I talk to a lot of you guys out there on a daily basis. Do me a favor. Please be a little patient with President Trump. Do you know to investigate someone as powerful as an Obama, as a Hillary Clinton, as any of these people, it takes time. And the guy,
man hours.
Exactly. The guy can't, like Sal said, the guy can't go into this half-assed. He'll look like a jerk off. He'll go in saying, oh, you know, he got half the story. You need all of your magazines full of bullets. You can't go in there shooting blanks. So it takes time. So be patient. The guy can't come in and change. And I'm going to give the prior 4 years of G.W. Bush. The guy can't come in and get 12 to 13 years of a debacle and change it in how long has he been off? 6 months?
7 months.
You can't do that. But he's done a lot already, and Sal and I are gonna probably if we have a slow week, 1 week with news, we're gonna probably devote a time to the things that President Trump's accomplished that we would like to discuss because there's a lot. I think in his first 100 days he did a shitload of stuff, but since then, and he gets zero credit because the media is so hell bent on talking about all this other drivel that it doesn't even get brought up, but he's done a lot of good stuff already. And there's one thing he's doing is winning. Winning and being right all the time. Flat out.
I love it. Oh, people are like, oh, look at his fucking, the way he said this. I don't like it. Yeah, well, he's right.
Too bad.
He's right about his technical shit. So that's what's important.
I hate to tell you, I love President Trump the way he talks. And you could say he's not presidential, then fuck it. Because I like someone who's honest. Let me tell you something about this guy. He doesn't pull any punches. He's not politically correct. And what he says, and I challenge anyone out there to say one thing that President Trump said that was major, that was false. Because right now, I think he's 7-0. He's been right on every single thing he said.
These fucking people. I was gonna go. I'm done after this. Exactly what you said. He doesn't act presidential. Why do you want someone to act presidential for?
It's fraudulent.
Exactly.
It's
that's
fraudulent.
That's the point I'm trying to make to people. I was like, these guys are just they're saying things just to make you happy. Fraudulent shit.
Right.
They're doing things just to come off a certain way. Why don't you just act fucking real and we judge you?
Exactly.
Well, and not like obviously not,
right.
Not don't judge, but we judge as Americans. Like our president, like I fucking love it. He acts like a real person. If he doesn't say everything that I like, things that he hates. I'm like, all right, you shouldn't have said that.
Right.
But he has the right to say it,
and he makes a mistake, and he has the right to make a mistake.
Exactly.
And here's my thing, and I'm going to finish up on this because I love this shit. When I talk to a liberal, and that's what they seem to be keying on, is he's not presidential. And I'll say to them, hey, coincidentally, did you vote for Bill Clinton? And they'll say, oh yeah, twice. I'm like, you voted for him twice? Yeah. Well, did he act presidential? And all of a sudden, you know what they'll say to me? And I love it. They'll say, well, we're not talking about Bill Clinton. I'm like, yeah, we are, because I'm basically, know what I'm doing? I am showing and exposing your hypocrisy for what it is.
Exactly.
Like, so you're going to say Donald Trump doesn't act presidential because he says he says something on a tweet, or he may say something that is, he said something against this idiot Mika, which was bogus anyway. It was ridiculous. Yeah. However, the guy you voted for, who did a lot. Now, not only did he do bad shit like rape women, pay them off, fondle an intern and do whatever. I won't get into that, what he did with Monica Lewinsky, but
not presidential, ruining the fucking White House.
Exactly, not presidential. And listen, how do you think Bill Clinton talks when he's off camera? Why don't you? That's a question I like to pose to you people. You think Donald J. Trump spoke bad in that locker room with that guy Billy, whatever his name was? What was that?
Billy Bush.
But Billy Bush. You think President Trump spoke bad there? Put a secret microphone on Bill Clinton whenever he was talking to anybody, and watch what he says. And let me tell you something. That guy will make a sailor blush, because he doesn't. I'll guarantee this. Do it to Hillary Clinton. She'll be worse. And I know this for a fact, because my buddy's a Secret Service agent, lives in the next town over. He's a friend of mine. And he told me he guarded Hillary Clinton. He said she was the worst person he's ever met, the meanest, the nastiest, the just downright shitty person. And her speech was not presidential at all. She kicked a dog once, the bomb sniffing dogs. He witnessed her when the guy she freaked out. She never liked dogs in her like coming into the area where she would be sleeping. But the guy's job, Secret Service, was bring the dog in, smell around for bombs, and leave. She freaked out and said, I don't want that dog in here. Well, the guy said, I'm doing my job. She kicked the dog in the ribs. The guy want to kill her, but obviously he can't, because she's the vice president, and you want to say that's presidential. Well, this is before when I'm sorry, she was first lady. I'm sorry, first lady. I screwed that up. Thank God it wasn't the vice president. And then when she was secretary, that was a slip of the tongue. Holy shit, I'm gonna get hit by lightning right now. But but that's acting presidential. Kicking a dog, a bomb sniffing dog in the ribs. What I wish that dog did was rip her throat out. Just killed her. Anyway, so that's that.
We're gonna go out on the Beatles tonight.
Yep. So we're gonna leave this. So thanks everyone for listening. Getting a little come together as we leave. So gabagool, my boy Sal out for the Red Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, people.
Last little note. We're gonna start a little hotline. Phone, text. We're gonna get this hotline number to you. It's gonna get set up this week. We'll have it for you for next show. We'll leave it.
Love to hear from you guys. So one of us can read the text as we go. We can address it, and then we can have conversation. I think it's gonna bring a great new addition to the show, to the podcast. I think it's gonna be awesome to hear from some of you guys. We love hearing from you. Love hearing your opinions. Yeah. Love discussing stuff with you, because you guys are well informed out there. You know your stuff. Constantly, seeing great things on Facebook from all of you. So with that being said, everyone enjoy this gorgeous night.
Yes.
Sal and I are sitting on the deck, gonna have another cup of coffee, and then get ready for work tomorrow. It's Monday. So gabagool and Sal out. Peace. Take care, guys. How long did that go? We went a little over an hour?
Yeah, I think we did.
Let's look.
I think we went about an hour.